Welcome to French 1. This is a class where we learn the foundational French vocabulary, grammar, and syntax. We'll also study history, geography, and culture of France and the Francophone world. By the end of French 1, students will be able to speak, listen, read, and write at a novice, mid, to intermediate, low level of proficiency about topics related to themselves, their family, their friends, their community, and their school. They'll also be able to demonstrate basic cultural competencies regarding etiquette and social mores as they pertain to France, and a bit also in the Francophone world, with a concentration on other areas of the Francophone world in years to come. To know how much students have learned, we'll be taking tests and quizzes throughout the year, but we'll also be taking things called integrated performance assessments. Those measure how proficient students are becoming in their reading, listening, speaking, and writing skills. These are not graded, but instead just provide valuable feedback to me and to the students as to how much progress they're making in their abilities to communicate in French. The lesson calendar, which is subject to change based on the individual pace of the class, is listed here. And the materials needed for the class are this book, which you may recognize, this workbook, as well as a notebook and something to write with. Of course, when we return to class, a charged iPad will be very important. We don't, I provide a lot of the notes in the weekly folders in Schoology, which I'll show you in a bit, but there will be occasions when students will want to take additional notes for themselves. The gradebook is set up so that there are two categories. There's one category of work that we call formative, and that's everything we do to practice French. So our homework, maybe projects, class discussions, etc. And there are those things that we do to prove that we have learned the material, and those are in the summative category. So things like tests and quizzes. There are no weighted categories, it's just a total point system. There are notes in the syllabus that will be important for your student about behavior and participation. What happens if we don't do homework? How do we communicate that? What the policy is for that? How to turn work in? And then at the end, some notes about how to get extra help, which it could include such things as when we return to campus, coming in during a study hall period, seeing me before or after school, emailing me for help, and while we're in connected learning, asking for help via Zoom. So our proficiency levels that I mentioned earlier, this is where students will be at the end of French 1. They'll be at a novice, mid-high range, and even maybe into the intermediate in some skills. You can see here what that means for your student. As the pyramid goes up, we can see the ratings go up, and by the end of a 4-year program here at Seabury, our students typically get into the intermediate high to advanced low range, which is about 2 levels higher than the state standard. In looking at how you'll find information about the class for you and your student, when you go on to Schoology, and you'll note here that I'm using the browser version of Schoology, the app will look different. But in the browser version, you'll note that there are folders, weekly folders. And when you click on those folders, you find additional information. So if I were to look at last week's folder, you'll see that I have all of the materials needed to complete that week's work. I also have videos so that right now, since we're only meeting twice a week, students may not remember how to pronounce certain things on those off days. And so I've created videos so they can go and reference those and just hear that to get the repetition necessary to improve their speaking skills. Also here are any assignments that are due, when they're due, and students will submit that work via Schoology. So I'm excited to start my 11th year here at Seabury, my 22nd year of teaching French, and I am excited to get to know all of your students in French 1 this year. If you have any questions or concerns, please email me and let me know. Have a good night. Bye-bye.